What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're at the Atlantis, Bahamas. We would like to share with you what our #1 favorite excursion is here. So we come here just about every year, sometimes multiple times a year. This video is one trip of us coming at New Year's and then another trip of us coming on a summer trip. We wanted to give you the pros and cons of doing this excursion in the winter months and in the summer months. So the excursion we're talking about is called Pieces of 8. Atlantis offers it. You can book it right in the lobby. First, you go see iguanas. Then you go off to either see sharks or pigs, depending on the day. Sometimes they switch the schedule around. There are multiple other stops at private beaches, private sandbars, and awesome lunch. So come with us as we head to the Exumas. For this excursion, you'll meet at 7:30 a.m. in the Royal Hotel. From there, you walk down the path, you'll jump on some boats, and you are off to the Exumas. In some of these videos, you're going to see we're wearing sweatshirts, trying to stay warm. That is a winter trip around New Year's. It's about 75 or 80 degrees, but when you're going 50 mile an hour on a boat, that's going to feel a little bit cool to you. The ride over to the first stop is about 60 miles. I believe you go about 90 miles each way in total, but the water is beautiful. They blare music. They have drinks and refreshments, snacks. Really, really good with the kids. These workers, you can tell that they've been around families a ton. They were so attentive to our children and really took extra good care of them, which we really did appreciate. One of the coolest things when pulling into the Exumas is you start to see mega yachts, and they're every couple hundred yards, 100-foot plus boats with water slides, below deck boat. There were some super impressive boats along the way. Speaking of impressive boats, the boat that they pick you up in is a Front Runner 39 with quad engines on it. This thing was awesome. In the winter trip, it was a little bit choppy and wavy. We stayed pretty dry. They gave us ponchos just in case, but the boat handled it well. It was not rough at all. So for those of you worried about getting seasick, not a problem. This boat can really handle some pretty rough seas and choppy water, which you can see here. And it's really hard to tell in this video, but there was a little bit of spray. But all in all, it was really a comfortable ride. Some notable sites along the way are going to be Norman's Cay. That was home of Pablo Escobar's airstrip and an airplane that crashed just off the shore. We don't get there today, but you'll see some footage of that a little bit later. You go by Tyler Perry's Island, Johnny Depp's private island. Some of the richest people in the world have their own little slice of paradise here. If you're a boat enthusiast, flying by these private islands going 60 miles an hour in what looks like you're in 2 to 3 feet of water, weaving in and out of these islands is an experience all in itself. These captains navigate these waters very, very well. They know exactly where they're going to keep you safe. On our boat back in Florida, I'm always the captain, and it's my job to keep everyone safe, which means a lot of time not partaking in some of the fun. It was great to just sit back and relax, have a mojito, and let someone else take the helm. We have arrived in the Exumas at Allen's Cay. This stop, you get to feed the iguanas. These guys like grapes. And there's a bunch of birds that'll come eat them out of your hand as well. This is the only spot on the excursion that's hit or miss. Sometimes the iguanas just don't want to come out. They don't want to eat, so you'll see very few. And we've been here other times where they're everywhere. Just a tip on this one, Allen's Cay is pretty rocky. You can see it in these videos. I recommend wearing shoes or water shoes. These rocks were pretty jagged and sharp, so the kids were having a little bit of a hard time moving around. So remember to bring your water shoes when you're here. That'll make your time here much more enjoyable. On this trip, we were here with some friends who are Turks and Caicos lovers. They swore nothing could compare. After seeing this water, I think they had a change of heart. They told me that it's just about as nice as the Turks, or as close as they've ever seen before. So it's time to jump back on the boat and head to our next stop. In the winter months, I would say that if you have access to a small blanket, bring one in your backpack. The kids were pretty cold. 75 degrees, going 50 miles an hour when wet, is still a little bit chilly. Next stop, famous Pig Beach on Big Major K. So a lot of people think that the sharks are the scariest part of this excursion. I'm going to tell you that that's not the case. These pigs are so big and they're very, very aggressive. So you're going to learn some tips and techniques on how to handle them. My advice would be to pay close attention to those instructions, because if not, you can get really hurt. One of our daughters was a little bit timid and shy and tried to pull the carrot back away, and the pig went to bite it anyway. So he was about to bite her hand, so I stuck my hand in the way, and it got me pretty good. Didn't draw blood, but it was a little painful. So be careful with these guys. They are wild animals. It's a bit of a stampede. As the boats are pulling in, they're all running around trying to make sure that they get their carrots. If you have little ones and they don't feel comfortable, they can feed them from the bow of the boat. That's really what I would recommend. One last recommendation, and I probably should have started with this. When you pull in, the captain's going to ask you, does anyone want to jump off the boat and swim in? We jumped, not thinking much of it, and didn't realize we were in 15 to 20 feet of water, and we had a long swim in. If you're a pretty good swimmer, no big deal, but I had my son with me. The first time he did it, he was about 5. So I probably swam 100 yards with him on my back. So that I would not recommend for anybody. Just let the boat bring you in and get off when you're at shore. That was much easier. Make sure to check up towards the back of the beach. There's a little pen up there, and there's a bunch of babies typically running around. The kids really enjoyed holding the babies. They were super cute and much more easy to manage than the big pigs. This is Amelia right here. That's one of the techniques they teach you, to show them your hands so that they don't think you have food. Once they know you don't have food, they'll allow you to pet them and they'll kind of leave you alone. Now it's back to the boat to head over to Compass Key. To me, this is my favorite part. I'm just a shark lover. I always have been, not really sure why. This is a really short boat ride from the big beach, so 5 minutes or so and you're here. And this is where you get to swim with the famous sharks. So as we spoke about at the beginning of the video, we've been here in the winter and in the summer. This part of the trip is where you start to notice the big difference in the winter months. This water was pretty cold. Trees grow, sunshine high, waves so low, island vibes, let your troubles go. Feel the rhythm, let it flow, in the breeze where the palm trees grow, sunshine high. We had folks with us from England and Ireland on this trip, and even they were cold. So for those of you saying that, oh, you guys are just Floridians, I need to toughen up, that's not the case. This water in the wintertime is not as enjoyable to be in. So summer months, you can hang out here all day. It's refreshing. We enjoyed it a lot more in the summertime. As you can see, everyone's in here. And in the winter visits, typically it's just me or me and a couple other people. We saw a lot of other families sitting this one out because of those cold water temps. In the breeze where the palm trees grow, sunshine high, waves so
Lift your voice, raise your hand. Together we'll make a stand. Peace and love across the land, like waves upon the golden sand. Feel the rhythm, let it flow in the breeze.
So that was amazing. The sharks were very docile, very, very friendly. We hopped on the boat next to head to Black Point, Lorraine's Cafe. I wish I had some more footage of this. The food was fantastic. Had a local meal, buffet, some really good mixed drinks if you want them. Got to watch the fishermen feeding the sharks out in the dock. And then now we're off to the famous Pipe Creek Sandbar. This was some of the most beautiful water I've ever seen in my life. So as we're in one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen, the Pieces of Eight crew were absolutely amazing. They walked over and gave us a moment. They said, hey, well, let us watch your children. Why don't you and your wife go take a stroll down this beautiful beach together? We got to spend 5 minutes just walking, enjoying each other's company. It was really, really nice. Man, I wish I could give them 10 stars. It was an amazing trip. Next time, we hope to go back and see some of their other locations that they go to. One of them that you're going to see here in just a second is one of the drug planes that crashed at Norman's Cay on Pablo Escobar's island. So some trips go there. There's also a stop at the famous Thunderball Grotto from the James Bond movie. So sometimes they'll take you there. So depending on the weather, depending on the age and the people on board the boat, they'll make some different stops. So please make sure to make this a must if you're headed to the Atlantis, Bahamas. We promise that you won't be disappointed. Thanks for joining my family and I on our real good times. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for tuning in.